Major hail on your fast track to 7. Severe storms slammed parts of North Dakota overnight. They are now in parts of northern Minnesota. But when they were over Williston, we had baseball-size hail that fell. Look what people got overnight on your screen right now. There's no doubt going to be some damage to cars and property and some cleanup there because of those big stones. That big chunk of hail can take out car windows and make some serious dings on your roof. And this morning, we are still tracking a line of storms moving through. Lisa Green has been watching them for the last several hours. She has the latest. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning. Yes, this is all part of that line, and it's now in northwestern Minnesota. Most of us have quieted down. A couple of isolated storms here and there, but by far it's this line that has produced the severe weather. We've had winds as high as 70 miles per hour clocked along this line in the valley, and it remains severe warned until 7:15 in this boxed area here. It includes Roseau, Newfolden, a lot of places along Highway 11, and that will continue to move east. It's been moving pretty quickly. Latest report was about 55 miles per hour, and gusts could reach 60 miles per hour with this storm, in addition to some hail associated with it too. So eventually Badger area, and again stretching even down into places in the southern part of Marshall County experiencing this storm. Now this isn't the only round. We're going to see more coming our way later today. A slight risk for severe storms in the yellow areas. Grand Forks basically and points north and east have the greatest threat, and then Fargo still in the marginal risk, and then the lighter green area, that's where we're looking at some general thunderstorm possibilities, but not necessarily severe. All of us will have to watch out for that next round with some rain on the way coming up for today. It's very warm right now. We're in the 70s. It's still muggy out there. Let's check out our forecast. Expect to see temperatures reach the low 80s for your high today. So not as intense as it was yesterday as far as the heat and humidity go, but still you're going to feel it, and this will all help to trigger more thunderstorms later on.
Yeah, keep the VNO weather app handy this morning. Lisa, thank you. A man missing from his northern Minnesota home is considered armed and dangerous, and police say not to approach him. The Beltrami County Sheriff's Office says 21-year-old Logan Roy is a vulnerable adult who left home Sunday night while experiencing a mental health crisis, and it's believed that he left home with a gun. Family members say that his text messages suggest that he might harm himself and would provoke law enforcement into taking his life. Family members say at least one loaded handgun is missing from their home. Roy is about 5'10", 275 pounds. He recently dyed his hair bleach blonde. His picture's up on your screen. Call 911 if you see him. Fargo police want your help finding 16-year-old Tobias Walker, who was last seen by family members at his home in Fargo almost a month ago now. That was on June 28th. Anyone with information about Tobias should contact Fargo police or their local law enforcement. The Minnesota Department of Transportation is making some changes after the deaths of 3 people on a crash in I-94 in Moorhead near a construction zone. The DOT is putting in new concrete barriers in the construction zone to make it safer.
We want to take these special precautions and try to make that work zone even safer and protect our workers and the contractor out on the highway. And that's why we are installing the concrete Jersey barrier out there to open up two lanes heading westbound.
It could take until next week for those new guardrails to be put in. Meanwhile, the state is identifying the victims of that deadly crash. They're 63-year-old Linda Carell and 65-year-old Robert Carell, both of Ham Lake, Minnesota, and 89-year-old Shirley Gadsky of Blaine. They were in an SUV, stopped behind one semi when another semi pushed their car into the one in front of them. A Texas man is in the Cass County Jail accused of crashing into a car while being chased by police. 32-year-old Matthew Garcia was arrested Friday night after reports of reckless driving in the Red River Valley Fair parking lot. Officers tried pulling him over, but they say he took off and then ended up hitting a vehicle with a child inside. That car was heavily damaged and then started on fire. Deputies used an extinguisher to snuff out the flames. Police say Garcia then took off running. However, he was arrested a few blocks away. Former Minneapolis police officer Thomas Lane will be sentenced Thursday morning on federal civil rights violations in George Floyd's death. In February, Lane and 2 other former officers, J. Alexander King and Toe Tao, were found guilty of depriving Floyd of his constitutional rights to be free from a police officer's deliberate indifference to his serious medical needs. Floyd was restrained by former officer Derek Chauvin, who is now doing time for Floyd's murder. Lane has also pleaded guilty to state charges of aiding and abetting manslaughter, but he has not been sentenced in that case. King and Tao are still awaiting their state trial. That was postponed until January of 2023. Inflation is impacting people in the Valley, and local food banks are now seeing it on their shelves. The Valley Today's Jillian Trudeau has a look this morning at the intense need for food donations. Good morning, Jillian.
Good morning, Jordan. Yes, I'm here at the Great Plains Food Bank where they're running into obstacles keeping food on their shelves. Earlier today, I spoke with the communications manager, Jared Slindy, and he said that there's many factors that kind of play into this empty shelves. It's high inflation, lack of food donations, along with the higher food assistance need. So they are doing a press conference later today to talk about the projections and the challenges that they're facing as of lately, and we will have those projections for you later today.
Jillian Trudeau reporting live at the Great Plains Food Bank this morning. Thank you. It is a record in Great Britain. We are just hearing that today's temperature hit 102.4 degrees, making it the hottest temp ever recorded in southeast England. The heat wave has caused more than 1,000 deaths and sparked multiple wildfires there. Meanwhile, EMS crews around the Red River Valley are on high alert as temperatures soar around here. Sanford Ambulance out of Fargo says over the weekend their crews responded to at least 4 heat-related calls. Paramedics say, though, it can be difficult to track exactly how many of those specific calls they get during the summer are because of the heat, because often 911 callers don't usually think they're suffering from a heat-related injury. Oftentimes, the spike in heat-related calls for service doesn't really happen until an extended period of high temperatures.
Typically day 2, day 3 is when we start to see those heat-related associated injuries of the heat stroke. And as the days go by and the longer the stretch of the heat, the more calls that come in.
EMS workers suggest that people stay hydrated and updated on the daily temperatures. We have a reminder for drivers in Moorhead starting today at 7 o'clock this morning, just a few minutes away. 30th Avenue South is shutting down between 34th Street South and 41st and a half Streets for road work. That work is expected to be in place for about 2 weeks. States with legalized marijuana have seen an uptick in traffic crashes and fatalities, according to a new study from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety. The study looked at states that allow recreational marijuana use and found that there was a 5.8% increase in the rate of traffic crash injuries and a 4.1% increase in fatal crash rates after marijuana sales started. That's compared to no increase over the same time in 6 other states where the drug remains illegal. Uber has settled a multi-million-dollar lawsuit that alleges the rideshare company overcharged customers with disabilities. Uber will compensate more than 65,000 users who were charged discriminatory fees due to a disability. The lawsuit points to the ride-sharing company's wait time fee. The suit claimed that those who used wheelchairs and walkers were charged extra for the time that it took them to load their mobility aid into the vehicle, and that violates the Americans with Disabilities Act. Well, we have a wedding memory for you this morning that will last a lifetime. A massive wave crashes a wedding in Hawaii during the outdoor ceremony, nearly washes it all away. Take a look at that video. A huge swell slams into the seawall in Kona. The bride and groom say the water wouldn't dampen their spirits. The party went on. The good news, the cake and most of the food survived that salty wash. The Today Show and CBS Mornings are just about to start, but the Valley Today rolls on. See you on the CW. Have a great Tuesday.